Did you know that BDSM and kink are healthy outlets for aggression, imagination, and attention? Hi, and welcome to The Partition, home of kinky wellness. My name is Dana Slosser, and I'm a sexual wellness coach that dives deep into all things kinky. I'm here to show how BDSM and kink deserves a rightful spot within the sexual wellness conversation. So, let's talk about it. And welcome back to the Partition Podcast with Katrina. Once again, we are here to discuss sex toys. That is today's topic. And on this one, I think I'm going to let Katrina take the lead on this because I believe you have a funny story to tell us.
I do. Well, not funny. It is a really sweet story as to why we have body safe silicone sex toys.
Oh, okay.
So I've got 10 facts, but I'll start with this one and then I'll do my other facts as well because I think they're really fun.
Okay.
But the first one is basically when this guy who worked as an engineer was, he ended up in an accident and he became disabled from the waist down. And after he healed, obviously him and his wife wanted to remain intimate and to kind of have something to be able to keep having their sex life. So he realized that a lot of the ones that we originally had were not body safe material. So actually a lot of sex toys, like a lot of like the cheap plastic ones, that is not FDA approved as like body safe. Wow. So he took all of his engineering expertise and like went and had a look and like working on cars and went and looked around and found a form of silicone. And when he was doing the silicone, basically he made a mold of a penis and basically created the very first body safe sex toy. That is why we all have silicone safe ones now.
What?
I thought was really sweet. Like
my goodness.
And then he ended up marketing it specifically towards the disabled community and was like, you know, it's for people who you just still want to be intimate with your partner, you're disabled. And then from there, obviously, as it gained popularity and as it became more known within like the sex toy company world, that's it took off. But yeah, basically, I think a lot of it came from he found there was a specific version of silicone that gets used within cars, and that's where he was like, you know, it can take heat, it can be cleaned, it can be this and this, and that's where he started with the idea and created them today.
Wow, that is actually super romantic.
How sweet.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because he was like, you know, she stayed with me after I like lost the use of like my legs and like all of that. She stayed with me. We still love each other, but I wanted to remain intimate and like, yeah. So that's exactly what he did.
You know what? When there's a will, there's a way. Like, honestly, wow.
Exactly. And I really like the DIY side of it. I like that he looked at the other ones and he was like, this will not be good enough. This does not meet my high standards.
No, he's like, my health actually matters. Like that's actually really cute.
Exactly. So like, because obviously a lot of like the plasticky ones and like the jelly ones that you find, like you can't clean them in like a dishwasher. They get like they break down over time, etc. So they found that they're not actually as safe for your body as they should be.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder. Like, I just feel like even with sex toys, I don't think people just take that extra thought to. It's easy to walk into a sex store and look at the price tag and easily be like, you know what, I'm going for the cheaper one. When really, as much as it is expensive, like sex toys are expensive, it shouldn't be go get the cheapest one. I don't
know. I find, I'm exactly the same. So like, obviously when I first started getting sex toys, because I've been buying them since I was 16, it's really interesting how quick you go from like, you know, it would be the little bullet ones, and then, you know, all of the batteries and ones that aren't the nicest, and like they're so fuzzy because of the type of motor that gets used in them. So like when you've got sex toys, you've got two types that you tend to talk about, which is like your buzzy vibrators and your rumbly vibrators, and it's all to do with like how powerful the motor is. So like rumbly ones give you a more intense and deeper vibrations which feel better, but the buzzy ones is what you tend to find on the cheaper side of the spectrum, because it's noise basically.
Wow, I did
Yeah.
not know that actually. Is
Oh,
that one
well,
of your facts? Like, or you
it
just know
is.
that? That's
Well,
awesome.
actually, it was one of my articles. I'm like, it just
Oh,
shows,
wow.
like, it just shows Dana who's reading my articles and who aren't. But
I
yeah,
know.
it
Oh my
is.
God. I need to read this one. I'm just going to read it and I'm just going to put it back on partition and be like, everybody now needs to read this. The difference between, buzzy vibrators and the
Yeah.
rumbly vibrators. Wow.
It is, but yeah, the more expensive you pay for, like you basically are paying for better materials. And it is interesting how like so many of the cheaper ones are made with these like nasty plasticky ones, whereas like I prefer silicone. I find it a lot kind of softer and it's not as aggressive on the body. But yeah, so I do have 9 other sex toy facts if you would like to hear them. So the first one is the oldest dildo is 30,000 years old and was found in Germany.
Germany.
It was found in a cave in Germany and it was made out of stone, and it has been proven to have no other use other than to pleasure women.
Wow.
Or
Like, what does it
vulva-owning
look like?
people.
Did you see a
It
photo
looks,
of it?
there is a photo of it. It looks exactly like a stone dildo, like you would
Okay.
imagine it.
Wow.
The Greeks used to make dildos out of breadsticks.
Breadsticks. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And they
That's I
yeah, so
feel like there's so many yeast infection jokes there that like it's just wow, that bread. Okay. Oh,
like what they would do was like, because they used to have these long, like the bread rolls, they would let them go hard and stale, and then they would like smooth them down using olive oil
oh
as
my
lube.
God. Okay, yeah.
And it's one of my favorite ones. I also found that sex toys are actually banned in a few countries and states. So the Maldives, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, and India currently
Yes.
are currently banned. Owning more than 6 is illegal in Texas. And since 1999, they are banned from shops in Alabama because there is no fundamental right for a person to buy a device to produce an orgasm, which I think is rude, because it should be right. You should have a right to feel pleasure.
Holy shit.
That should be like a part of your human rights doctrine. Like you should have a right to have pleasure.
Well, that's the thing. Like, okay, so like a news from India, right? So we have these big conversations about how sex toys are illegal there. Because and it's weird because a lot, I don't know, I feel like the material that they get from sex toys, like it's sourced out of these countries that are banned from them. Meanwhile, in India, like maybe this is just a little off, maybe this is off the trail here a little bit, but their sex toys are illegal, but they're putting out articles right now that transgenders will be able to go to university for free, which is like yeah, so it's so yeah, when you think about it, you're like, okay, so you're using sexuality, sex here for like a political tool on this, like universities here, there's some sort of something there, I feel, but sex toys are illegal.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Whereas like, yeah. Oh
I'm
my
going to
God.
read more into this and I will loop back to this, but
yeah,
it's so weird. It's so weird.
But like it's great, don't get me wrong, like it's probably the most progressive thing. Like even the UK isn't that progressive with fucking trans people. All we have is the bloody media trying to have a go.
Well, I just find that it's just
sad.
It's so disingenuous. Like it's so clear. Like it's one of those things, like it's got to be the clearest form of this as a political play or some sort of leverage when you don't even have sex toys that are illegal. Like obviously this is just fake. Like they don't support it. They're just doing it for some sort of
clout,
whatever reason is behind it. Like I don't really believe that that's a genuine move towards the transgender community at all, but
It's like the clout of it, of being like what is it? Like the token allyship of being able to.
But anyways, that was off topic. I will look into that, but we'll loop back to the other facts here because these are great. Wow.
Oh, I know. I was having a really good time finding them. So this is to do with sex dolls.
Okay.
So when they are created, they get a team of makeup artists and hairstylists are hired when making sex dolls to make sure that they are done according to current trends on fashion and beauty.
Current trends.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
I know. I was like, that's just, I thought you decided what you wanted them to look like yourself. But no, apparently there's people there like.
Okay, so for those like 3 weeks where I worked at the love shop there, they had books with like, they had this little book and it had the sex dolls in it. And I guess there wasn't options. They had customizable options, but it was out of the ones that of course they already had. So brunette, blonde, blue eyes, brown eyes, things like that.
Oh, wow.
But that's interesting about just like current beauty standards.
Yeah. I thought that was as well because I was like, yeah, but they don't always look like they're wearing makeup. So I'm like, in a minute, you're going to see one full face and contoured is the way I need to see this.
Oh,
I'm like, I need to see it is the way I view it. What is it? The another one was the dream dolls, which are one of like the biggest things of sex dolls and most popular. They have a heating system inside so that the skin of them feels warm like human flesh, which creeps me out so much. But at the same time, I understand it because if it's just lifeless and cold, that's really like that would be.
Oh my gosh, but we are fucking robots now. Like honestly, like the whole joke between metaverse and people having virtual sex through metaverse, like isn't there a movie where who is it? Bruce Willis is in it and he goes and he saves his significant other out of being a prostitute in a virtual reality. Isn't there a movie somewhere?
And it's like it turns out everybody's been stuck indoors for like years and it's just the bodies are like these robot things. Yes.
Oh my God, that's creepy. That's
But because I was thinking about it and I was like, it makes sense because obviously a lot of people like they have a relationship with the doll. They have like this like it would be
attachment.
I was like it's creepy that they've like got a heating system inside, but then I was like, but is it more creepier to imagine that they are literally getting off to just a dead, like not dead, but like, you know, some lifeless cold thing?
Well, it's like anything. Like I honestly want those heat up tiles out of bathrooms.
Oh my God.
Like that's the thing. So if they can make it more comfortable, they will.
Yeah, I was like, I kind of thought about it and I was like, fair, like you're paying loads to have it. You might as well get like the heating system put in.
Soon they're going to be talking back to you, honestly. Like it's going to be like people buying robots as companions. Like
I think that is what's going on. And then it's going to be the conversations about consent with it and like where those lines get crossed. But
you know what? There's a really interesting movie. This is off topic, but called Bicentennial Man. Have you ever seen it with Robin Williams? It's literally about a robot who turns into a human, like his journey of it. Anyways, it's one of those movies that came out, I don't know, years ago. And it's one of those things like one day we're going to loop back to it. A robot will turn back into a human somehow.
Yeah. Or just, oh my, yeah. Saying that there is that one that's coming out, not Annabelle. Is it I'll find the name of it, but it's like a little girl's companion and she's meant to protect, but then she just goes evil. And I was like, that is what would happen.
That's funny.
She does like this weird little dance thing that made me giggle. I was like, this film looks amazing. But yeah, also the most popular shape of sex toys is animals.
Most popular type. Okay, that's got to say something. Like I say this all the time. Humans are animals. Like we lost that connection somewhere, and clearly.
I'm like because I know you can get like the joke ones where they like look like a dolphin or a dragon.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the bad dragon ones, which are like a range of
Oh, they're
fantasy themed.
monsters, yeah, and stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
they're huge. They're like some of them are like this bigger than my fist, and I'm like,
Oh,
how?
yeah, they were at the sex expo when I went, and they gave out little mini examples of like 6 of them and stuff, and one of them, like, of course, there's like the tentacle things and stuff like that, but it honestly looked like Lord of the Rings, like orcs, and like if an orc
Yeah,
had a dick, this is what this would look like at that point.
yeah. To be honest, I think there is a range for that.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Probably, yeah, you know what,
tentacle
yeah, of
ones
course.
I think are amazing. The tentacle ones are like, I love the look of them, but you can get ones where they like put eggs inside of them, so you can like
Really?
have a whole, yeah, you can have like the whole fantasy of being bred by a tentacled alien, and like that, and like the eggs are supposed to be dissolving, so like they don't cause harm or anything like that to your body. But I was
Wow.
just like, can you imagine if one got stuck up there, or like you cough too hard and it just
Oh my God. Well, I just feel like if animal or the imagination is the most popular form, like it goes to show how much people do want to use their imagination.
oh
Because like
god,
when push comes to shove, that like if that's the most popular choice, that's interesting.
yeah, I know, I thought so as well. I was like, but yeah, I just couldn't get over it. I like looking at the shape of some of them because I'm just like, how, who came up with that as an idea is
Yeah,
probably where mine is. But yeah, it is a myth that vibrators decrease sensitivity or nerve damage to like the clit. So obviously that's one of the big things that people always go on about when they first start getting them, is will it cause any lasting damage? And no, a sex toy should not do that. If you have numbness down there, it's not actually numb, it is just your body's oversensitive.
that is a good fact I think people need to hear. Wow.
Yeah, so like sometimes you can do it, and like, you know, if the settings are turned too high, or if you have like a cheaper, not like a cheaper kind of
Mm-hmm.
vibrator, you tend to find that's with like the more buzzy kind of vibrations, that's
Yeah.
when you'll find you get a lot more of it, where it just, it's, yeah, it, but nothing is lasting, like it cannot destroy nerve endings.
That's good to know.
Which I find it, because I find a lot of my friends who like haven't used one have always asked that, and I'm like,
But in the
as
same
somebody,
breath,
yep.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, for myself, I was like, as somebody who has had like a day where I've had like multiple rounds, like I've never had any issues.
And that's just like got to be one of those old wives' tales that got out of control somewhere.
Oh yeah, I think it is, and like should put people off of it as well, especially
That's
when you've got things like the Hitachi wand and like how powerful some of them are.
yeah.
But no, they do not cause any nerve ending or nerve damage. Oh, I've done the silicone toy one, and then my last two are lube is lube matters. So depending on the type of toy, depends on the type of lube you should be using.
I have
So
heard this one before. So different
yeah,
types of lube. So
so if you have a silicone sex toy, don't use silicone as a silicone based lube, as it causes it to break down, and it's the same, so like water based lubes tend to be the best ones,
yeah,
which is what I prefer anyway. I'm like, I don't like the smell of lube, so if I can get one that like doesn't smell and is easy to clean up, I'm so happy.
I don't like the overly, like, I know that there's lubes out there and they're supposed to stay like and keep you slippery for so long, so long. I don't like those ones because it just feels like too much. I don't,
Yeah, even after you've cleaned yourself up afterwards, you
yeah.
still kind of feel it a little bit, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. I like water.
Yeah, I like the water-based ones. And also things like people using coconut oil and like specific types of oils shouldn't be used with silicone sex toys either. I swear it can, like, it's either coconut oil or a different oil, but basically it attacks whatever's the latex in a condom. So
Oh,
it can cause breakages in it. So if anybody is using condoms and oil,
no.
maybe don't.
Yes, okay.
My last one was obviously is the Hitachi wand was originally intended as a full body massager.
Oh my
When it
God.
was created in the 60s. So then when people started using it and Hitachi actually found out what they were using it for, they tried to stop and get rid of the Hitachi ones and like stop production.
Seriously.
They didn't want to be recognized because they're a Japanese company. They were like, we don't want to be recognized for sex toys, blah, blah, blah. But they were so popular that they've not been able to get rid of them.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and also another one as well is with anal toys. So you can always tell an anal sex toy what you can use is because it should have a flared base.
Okay. Yes.
And this was created for safety because one too many people ended up going to the hospital with sex toys up their butts. So I was like, yeah, but I love talking about sex toys, as you know. It's what I do a lot of my writing around. But then you said that you don't use them. So can I ask, like, how come you've never?
Well, it's interesting. Like, sex toys just isn't the first thing that I tend to gravitate to. I would say that it's more towards gear and furniture. Yeah, like
That makes sense.
yeah, like it's gear, it's furniture. Like, for instance, anything that can get me in a position that's comfortable for long standing, like those pillows that can go underneath you, or making sure like if you're leaning your chest onto something, so if like the
Ah,
back of a furniture, so my weight isn't the only thing. I
ah.
feel like that's way more important to me. Not that toys aren't important, but the furniture, like, am I going to be the most comfortable? Like, are there restraints? Because I like being tied down. So is the restraints, like, are they proper? Like, do we have, the scissors to get us out of it? Like, stuff like that. So, like those type of things, my safety kits, the prep kits, all those jazz.
I get it. Can you just imagine if you had to go somewhere and nobody knew what you did, and they're just like, you got this, you got this, you got, why have you got scissors?
Oh my God, it would look like I'm going to kidnap and murder somebody if they open it up. Like, it would just be like, there's no sex toys. It's all just home hardware, Home Depot things in there. Like, it's just, oh, sorry. Like, don't mind me.
Just like restraints, bondage tape, for
Yeah.
gagging, a gag, potentially something to hit them with, scissors. Yeah, you would look like somebody who is going to kidnap, but then you'd also look like an awful kidnapper because you've already given them something to escape with.
Yeah, but also like other things that I guess would kind of be an accessory, maybe not so much as the sex toys, but still an accessory nonetheless, is the outfits. Like, I do like outfits, and even the lingerie that I pick out, it's got to fit the theme. Like, there's thought
Sure.
process that goes into it. And I think everyone can say that as well when they're putting on something
Yeah.
sexy. Like, the outfit that they're going to have sex in, is there's thought behind it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I don't know, sex toys, it just falls on like the fourth or fifth thing. But because I have my sights on all this furniture stuff, but it's so expensive. Like, I
I
thought
was
sex,
gonna
oh my
say.
God, it's like months of rent. I'd have to like save
God.
up 2-3 months of rent if I wanted to get this, but they're so big. We live in an apartment. We wouldn't, I have nowhere to
Yeah.
put them right now. Boo. But one day I'm going to have that secret wall where you pull a book or something and it opens up. So my
I love
perfect
it.
room. That's what I want.
I love it. But can it just be the rest of your apartment looks like really normal? And then for some reason you just have this one bookshelf.
Yeah. Like,
It fits none of the aesthetic, but there's nothing behind it,
like,
guys.
no, yeah, just normal looking wall. But I don't know. I just like the other things, like cages, I know are a big deal. Like, they're getting a little, like, they're popular, but I feel like they're becoming, like, I've seen lots of ads for them. Maybe because my Google is all about that, but I don't know. I think that people talk about it, like putting cages underneath their beds and things like that. And I know I've seen them in a couple places. Yeah, yeah. You can put a cage. You know how you have your mattress sometimes in the
Yeah.
box spring and whatever the bed frame is. So it's popular to have a cage underneath the bed, and then your
Okay.
box spring, and then your bed on top. So it kind of hides. And I've seen it. I've seen someone make their own before, and I was like, wow, that's creative. I was like, I
Yeah,
like
I
that.
can
Hmm.
imagine. Because I'm like, I've heard of people having cages, but I tend to just imagine them to be quite stood up. Yeah, because that's how I imagine them. Because I'm just thinking, like, can you imagine if you had one under the bed and you were like, you know, bad boy, bad girl, and then you've just got them under the bed and then you go to sleep.
You know what? There's people who do that. There's people who do that.
That enjoy that. Yeah, I've got a friend who's into puppy play, and they've got like, they showed me their mask, and I was like, I don't understand. Like, I love that you love that, but I don't understand how that's sexy. Like, it's not inherently sexy for me, the puppy masks. In the middle of summer, so hot. Like, I would, by that point, I would be like, I don't want to have sex.
Okay, out of like Bad Dragon, if you could pick a toy from Bad Dragon, what would be your ideal looking instrument, I guess?
Oh, okay. It would have to be thin at the top. I know that.
Yeah.
But then I would go towards the tentacle ones.
I think they just look cute. I think I'm on your side on that. They do. There's some sort of, I don't know, underwater can be so elegant. I know it can be creepy, but it can be elegant under there.
It's like, yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm a mermaid. Come and save me. That's where my thoughts on that would be. But I don't know. What about you? Because I enjoy a lot more external ones, obviously, because I've got vagissimas, but I do really want a good G-spot.
Yeah, I think that's more important. I'm not so big on like, I don't like penetration toys and things like that. I am more for about the vibration.
Yeah.
Because because I'm not using them that much. They're not the main focus for me.
For me, obviously, like, I haven't had sex with people in a while. For me, it's something I enjoy as part of like my self-care routine, which is I love. But I've got to admit, I really have become partial towards the ones that are completely hands-free.
Oh yeah.
Like, I've got one called the Wave, and it's called the Wave because it goes like that. And you literally ride it and you rock against it. And I kid you not, it was one of the most intense orgasms I've ever had because of it. And I couldn't tell if it was because it was that good or my legs were just like aching from basically doing a fucking workout. But it was really amazing because I had the music going. I'd taken one of my like edibles, so I had like a really nice high going, which always makes me horny.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, it could have been 5 minutes, it could have been 5 hours. I have no idea.
You know what? How much was it? Like, I guess it's different in price ways, but mine is coming to an end. I think she needs to get retired, like, old age on this one. So, but I want a new one, and I hate holding it. I hate fucking. And I do generally like grinding. Like, I do like riding. Like, that's one of the toys, I guess, furniture that I want is one of those sex shay chairs with the curve. Because like, yeah, I do like being on top. I just don't like, sometimes I would over a chair. You know what I mean? I love chair sex. So that would be perfect. Again, the apartment's not big enough, but I would try that.
So it cost me, it was about, I think it was 25. It wasn't one of the most expensive ones.
Okay.
So I'll find it and I'll send you a link. But honestly, there is a massive growth of like grinders and like ones that literally are hands-free.
Yeah.
Coming up because of the same one. And I was like, it's amazing because you've got your hands free. You can like really get into your fantasy about it, and like, you can touch your body. I felt so sexy doing it, as opposed to when I have my wand sometimes and I'm legs akimbo.
Well, like, that's the thing. I have like this hand vibrator. It's not even a wand. So it's like I have to reach, like, literally, like, I like get comfortable, you know what I mean? But it's obviously going to be more comfortable if I had all my hands to myself. So
no, I get it. Like, wands anyway, if you get them at the right angle, you can just grind down against them anyway.
Yeah.
And can do it hands free, but it is like you have to work to get it at the right angle.
So do you have like a go-to toy like that you would recommend, like, even out of all the research and everything that you do?
It completely depends, but I would definitely say get a wand.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I love my wands. I think that because you can use them for everything. You can use it to stimulate all of your body, and because it's got because of how wide the head is, especially if you are like, you don't like that intensity of it being directly on your clit. I think it's a really good, like, it's a great toy to have. That's like, you can build it up and you can build up the level of intensity, but you can also kind of, you haven't got to worry about it being like pinpointed on one specific area, because it just goes into like the deeper muscle tissue
Yeah.
and stimulates that way. And like the one that I've got is through Love Not War, and theirs is a small one, so it's like literally, I think it's like that big altogether. So it's great if you're doing like something with a partner, or like, you know, in during sex, or like in it, you haven't got to worry about, you know, the big plug in the wall ones
Yeah.
you can get, like, oh, come on, babe.
That's funny.
I don't know. I think it's a good one. Like, I like sex toys, and I know I would definitely get off on my partner using one on me, especially as like a, you know, you sit in their lap and then you show them what you enjoy, kind of thing. Like the idea of doing that does turn me on.
Yeah.
And like keeping that control and being able to show your partner how to give you pleasure, like that would do it for me.
Yeah.
So I think it can be used, they can be used during sex, but I do agree, if they are just the whole point.
Well, I think that's just my opinion. So like if somebody loves it, that it's their whole point. That's like, I guess it's wrong to say, like everyone's entitled to however they want to do it. I
Mhm.
think in a weird way, I like to be held in the same position for like a long time. So like spreader bars and things like that, I'm a big fan of, for legs, hands, whatever the case may be. Basically just being tied down anyway, which way, don't care, whatever. It works for me. Or like the bite gag bars. Like I don't have one of those, but I would like one. I think
Mhm.
that's something I would, if there's a good price somewhere.
Oh God, it is. It's the price that does it. You go in, you look, and you just go, I like eating this month. And
I have
I
such an issue with it, considering like when I was doing the drop shipping website, everything that comes out of the store here, like for instance, take Love Shop for example, those sex toys are all $2, $3, $5. AliExpress,
yeah,
um, any
that
type of those websites, Wish, anything like that, it's all $5 or under, $10 maybe. And then here in Canada, or at least in Ontario, they'll range for over 100. The same thing, like it's insane. So I can't justify it. And I
it's.
guess I could go on AliExpress, but like, I don't know. Just
I
really,
think no. Sorry, you go. I was gonna
I
say.
was just gonna say, like, maybe I could go off AliExpress, but I do want to look at finding people here, like within Toronto or something, or testing out locally made things. Like even what you
Mm,
were looking to get into, making your own, like that's a good thing to know where the materials are coming from, to know that it meets some sort of standards, like what you said, the plastics and some cheap sex toys, like off AliExpress. It might be like appealing to get, or like, oh, I can afford this, but you shouldn't. You
yeah.
just shouldn't go for the cheapest one.
No, and also like they're called like white goods sex toys. So they're basically just bulk made in somewhere and then just sent out. And like that's why you'll find like the same one that has a different name, and they look
Ah,
exact, you know, basically like people bulk order all of these things, put their own packaging on it, and then go. But then there is like an upcoming within like the sex toy world of like these independent ones come in, and
nice.
like they're designing the toys themselves, new shapes, new ideas for like orgasms and stuff like that. And I think it's like it is a really interesting thing. Like that's how I found Love Not War. You've got like Vush, you've got Smile Makers and stuff like that, where they're actually creating their own. So yeah, I get what, and I'm like, I would rather pay for the price of that than pay for something cheaper and know that it's going to break within like fucking 2 weeks.
Well, at the Love Shop, this guy came back and had a pocket pussy, and he said it exploded, like literally. And I was like, you don't have to buy another one. He's like, oh, it's just how they are. I was like, oh my God, this is not the first toy that this has happened to you. Like, you're going to get hurt.
So then
Like
like,
cheap.
nah,
He's like,
say la
whatever it
vie.
is, it is what it is. If my dick explodes, my dick explodes. Like, wow, what a way to go. No.
And there's like, so they've also got an attack update, right? So I was writing some product descriptions for one the other day, and I was in stitches at, like, 'cause I had to Google how it worked. And you connect it to your app, and it does like vibration and sucking motion. And I'm just imagining, because they look quite normal from the outside, but can you just imagine walking in on somebody pants down and they've got a pocket pussy on their thing and it's just going,
oh my God.
I was a stitch it. But then you can also, right, connect it up to one of those webcam sites and you can do like cam girl sex with it.
Oh, wow.
And they can control, and like you or your partner controls it on the app, the level of vibration and stuff like that. Yeah.
Wow. Well, on that note, it was great to have you here. This was a great conversation about sex toys, and happy to see you again.
You as well. And yeah, I love sharing my lovely tips with the world.
Well, we will see you next week, and thank you everyone for listening. Well, that's it for us. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and let us know what you think. You can find me at thepartition.life and Katrina at _satisfiedcat. Thanks for listening. Tune in next time. And as always, stay kinky.